There we go. So welcome to the Crossbones Vigil. And we're going to ring our bell. Spirits of the dead, spirits of the living, kindred, welcome to the Crossbones Vigil. I'm not sure which number it is. We've been doing this since November 2004, I believe. So it's a lot. How many is it, Jennifer? Do you know?
I know we're in our 20th year, but I don't know.
No, we've lost count now, haven't we?
So we don't. 200 and something.
200 and something. So we've done a lot of vigils. And this is reminding me of when we were in lockdown, because obviously we didn't, in recent months, we've had a lovely film from the gates where Jennifer has been being the goose mistress of ceremonies, which has been lovely. And we're very lucky tonight because Jennifer is here with us instead on the Zoom vigil.
Waving her broken arm at you.
No, Jennifer's broken her wrist and can't be at the gates. So there may be people at the, I mean, I'm sure there are people at the gates holding the line for the gates.
Jenny Wylam is leading the vigil at the gates, and that's supporting her and several others. I don't know who else is there.
But she's not going to stream into the Zoom or anything.
I think not.
No, make them nervous.
The agreement was that if Natalie could do it, then she would come into the Zoom and we would connect. But otherwise, just carry on as you were.
We'll just carry on. Do you want to say anything about the gates, Jennifer? Because this is a bit, I'm not good at the history and all that. Do you want to say anything?
Honestly, I don't really want to say anything. But
no,
if
you can just
want
have a rest.
to do a little bit of the history, then I will.
Not if you don't want to. I want you to have a lovely time.
I'll say a bit about the gates.
All right.
I'll say a bit about Crossbones and our history. We all know the history. We've been doing, there's been a lot of work going on just recently because Crossbones is about to be, in quotes, regenerated. I like to call it tarting up because it is the goose's garden after all, isn't it?
Yes.
And we went to one of the design workshops where the architect had gone back into history as much as he possibly could, and he had 277 years worth of pictures and drawings and articles about how people have fought for Crossbones for almost the last 300 years.
Oh,
it was just amazing. There were not photographs, there were drawings of both of the schools when the schools were built on the site. And he spoke for 20 minutes and we walked through Crossbones history. We saw how big it was originally. We saw what had been illegally taken by TfL. They didn't take it, they owned the land, but they illegally got rid of half of the bodies that were in Crossbones. So when we speak of the 15,000 souls that lie at peace at Crossbones now, we also need to remember the other 15,000 people that are disappeared.
Mm.
And for me, with those disappeared people of the past, we connect and honour the people who are disappeared in this day and age. So, yeah, I think what we're doing here tonight is part of a very long struggle to hold Crossbones as our holy ground, our ancestor land, our place of pilgrimage, as it was so beautifully for you, Rob, that night when we first met you. You were there, Jackie.
Mm.
What connections we've all got. And I am going to say a bit of personal, because I've only a week ago, I broke my arm. I'm going to be dramatic. I fell on it from the fingers down and it absolutely popped. The wrist is shattered. It's not got a full cast on it yet, which is why I feel so vulnerable. But you've been to my house, you've met my friends. Rob, you've met some of them as well. I don't know who else is at our vigil here tonight, but you know that I live in a lovely community.
Mm.
I have not cooked myself a meal any night this week. Tonight, in 15 minutes, I'm being delivered of Thai red curry. People have cleaned my house. It makes me cry to feel such a connection with my people. And that's why I ran in. I disappeared for a minute because I was taking my coat off.
Mm.
I'd been somewhere and I really wanted to be here, because keeping that connection and honouring the work that we do, and the work that you do, Jackie, when you're not here doing this, we're here to stand for, there is another way of living. There is another way to be that is not what we've got now.
Mm.
And here we are proving it. I'm so touched and moved, Jackie. It wasn't much of a history, but it was something. Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful, Jennifer, really.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. What's it to hear, though, about the people, I mean, from your community there looking after you, but to hear about all the people through time who've tried to protect the graveyard, because we don't really hear about them, do we?
No,
I've never
no,
heard anything about them.
no,
So
no. But
to
there've
hear
been,
that other people.
yeah, right. Every time it's been closed down, and what we now call the corporates have tried to sell it on and sell it off, people have fought for Crossbones, written to the Times, that, you know, we are part of a long, long line of people who are protecting our holy ground.
Oh, it's so good to know. And that somebody's
So,
collected that as well. It's so great.
yes.
So
Yes.
great. Thank you. Oh, I feel quite re-energized by that thought that that all those people, we're part of that long line.
Isn't it lovely? It's a red thread back to our ancestors, not only the ones that are in the past that are buried there, but the people who have stood for Crossbones and fought for that, the sanctity of the place, the holiness of the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And of course it is autumn equinox today.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an important day. And I was just reminded when you were saying that now that there's somebody on Instagram called Megan Maguire, and she writes about autumn. I wrote about this earlier on my Facebook page, but I just thought I just thought
I'm going to mute myself, because otherwise we're just going to have a conversation. You carry on.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I was just reminded by what Jennifer was saying about people campaigning over so long, and that thread of community and how much it matters, that Megan Maguire writes about autumn because it's a time of balance. She says that it's a time to redistribute wealth, pay reparations, house and feed everyone, challenge gender norms, challenge class norms, demand that the rich share their wealth, party to celebrate abundance, give back to the land, rest from work, do divination, tend our ancestors, tend the forgotten dead. And that's so much what we do here, isn't it? And it feels so perfect that she has written about that. And so I wrote a little prayer for autumn, which I'll just read. At this time of balance, may those who cling to power release it. May those who are powerless be heard. May the web of life weave solidarity, resistance, forgiveness, and peace into all its ragged threads. And may all beings be blessed by this season of withdrawal and transformation. Blessed be. So here we are at our beautiful Crossbones graveyard for our vigil. And a lot of us have been here many times before, so we'll know how it works. But there may be people here on Facebook or present here who haven't been here before or not very often. So we have several small ceremonies that we enact. And Jennifer's manifesting autumn as we speak by wrapping herself in a cozy blanket, which is the perfect thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the first, we've done the opening. So this is the next ceremony, which is holding the candle for 1 minute silence. And so if you've got a candle, you'd be very welcome to hold it up, to put your camera on, or to stay with your camera off and hold your candle up, or just imagine a candle. And why we're holding the candle is to light the open pathways for all beings, making their individual journeys in time and eternity. So whether they're going from this world into the next world, or from the next world into this world, to hold those pathways open. And as we do this, we're going to remember the outcast dead of Crossbones graveyard and everyone in the world who's shut out, as well as our own ancestors and loved ones. And we're going to, if you can, imagine a state of shining emptiness, so non-attachment to all things. And we'll just let any sounds or sights or impressions drift over us like the sea and ebb and flow, and just let everything move as it wants to. And so I will time this, and I will ring the little bell when we've had a minute. And I've got my little candle here. I will have to put it down when I ring the bell. But if we'd all like to hold our candles up, and we can imagine the people at Crossbones probably at this moment are also holding up their candles, which is a really beautiful thing, and just connecting with them and connecting with all those people through time who have protected Crossbones graveyard, and all those people who've understood that heart connection with the community there of the forgotten dead. So let us light the candles for open pathways for 1 minute silence, beginning now. Thank you. So, and now we've come to the part where we do the ceremony of binding and loosing. So, this is where we make our offerings to the gates. And if you've seen images of the gates, you will see that they're fluttering with ribbons. It's really beautiful. And when the ribbons, oh, look, Doug is showing us the gates on his background picture. So they've got a lot more ribbons on now than you can see in Doug's picture, but you can imagine lots and lots of ribbons, and they, when the wind blows, they all flutter out, and they've been left there. Some of them have got the names of the dead that we believe are buried in Crossbones written on them, which have been written over many years of Halloween of Crossbones. And some of them have been tied by people for their own loved ones, and some of people have left them as offerings to the dead. It's a really beautiful sight, and you really feel like the spirits are speaking to you when the wind whips the ribbons up. So what we do every single month is we renew the shrine by tying on new ribbons, and they usually are they white and red ribbons. I think that 23 ribbons are given out, and people also bring their own ribbons. So I have had this ribbon since we began lockdown, and it's a really lovely velvet ribbon, and one day I will tie it to the gates. And I love this ribbon, and it's important to me that I love this ribbon and that I'd like to keep it for myself and to give it away, because that feels like that's what the renewal is, to let go of something that we love for those who had nothing feels important, and to imagine the geese looking at beautiful ribbons and being given them is such a beautiful, joyous thought that I like to think about that when I look at my ribbons. Drew says, I did experience shining emptiness. My internet cut out. There you go, Drew. You were sent into the void. So what we're going to do now is we're going to imagine that we're tying our ribbons on the gates. And I've got a little candle, circle of women around a candle here, a candle holder, and I tie it on there. I untie this each month and tie it back on. So we're going to do that. And as we do that, we're going to say a whisper prayer. And a lot of people here know the whisper prayer. So we can all unmute ourselves if you're muted and you'd like to unmute yourself. If you would rather stay muted, that's completely fine. And we'll all say the whisper prayer. So we don't have to say it all together. Just say it when you hear somebody speaking, repeat what they're saying, or if you know the words, just say it in your own time. And we can imagine tying our ribbons on the gates and renewing the shrine. So we're going to do this 5 times, say the whisper prayer, and we'll tie our ribbons on in our vision of the gates or in our homes, and imagine giving these beautiful things away. So I'll just say that Rod is in Australia and it's 4 o'clock in the morning there, and it's a gargantuan effort and amazing thing that he is here, and it just shows what a beautiful connection Crossbones has got all across the world. It's such a lovely thing. So Rod is holding the line for the night, and we're holding it for going into the evening, and that feels like a beautiful connection as well. I was waiting for the dawn to come, so, and we're waiting for the moon. So let's begin our whisper prayer. What have I forgotten to say anything? I don't think so. No. So if we're at the gates, what happens is people will go forward and they'll let people have a little bit of space, and they'll let people stand for a moment, and then they'll move back and people will move in. It's a really beautiful sort of dance of offerings. So let's imagine that as we do this. So here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries.
Your mysteries.
Thank you. So now we've come to the ceremony or the ritual of creative offerings. And this is our opportunity to offer poems, songs, just words we'd like to say about our connection to Crossbones. You know, it's something that connects with Crossbones, but that's for us and our own hearts to say what we feel connects with Crossbones. So if you feel that it is speaking something that means something to the gates and to the geese and to each one of us, then you would be very welcome to speak and share with us. I was just thinking then, as we came to this part, I used to work in a prison, and I was just remembering the incredible creativity of the prisoners, like the amazing, deep-hearted, creative offerings that they made. You know, in the education block, they used to paint on the walls murals, and they were the most beautiful things, and they wrote the most beautiful things, and they should really have been out in the world being artists and making the world so amazing, and instead they were in prison. And I just used to think about that sort of really tender place, that they were such blokey blokes, do you know what I mean? Where would their creativity have found its way out? It was very touching. And I was just thinking about the people at Crossbones who were buried there, like where would their creativity have found their way out? So I think when we're speaking now, our own creativity in whatever way that is, sharing other people's poems, whatever we find touching, just the honor and the liberation of being able to share creativity with one another and to be accepted for that, and just to be witnessed, is a huge thing that many people in the world don't have, that feel they must lock their creativity up. So I'm very grateful that we're all here together to speak, if you would like to speak. So we usually start with something from the Southwark Mysteries, which is the book by John Constable, which is rooted and grounded in Crossbones Graveyard. But has anybody else got anything they'd like to offer? I think Drew's got something. Rod's got something. Yeah.
Good. I'll give a poem.
Jennifer's got a poem. I've got a couple of goose poems. So is that all right? So if you haven't said you've got something to share and a great wave of inspiration comes over you, you haven't lost your chance. Like there's still a chance. It's just nice to know that some of us are going to speak, but feel free, if you haven't already committed, to do that later. So I'll read a little bit out of the Southern Mysteries. I'm going to read the Book of the Egyptian, and then we will have our offerings. As in Israel come out of Egypt, so in Egypt come out of Rome, the ferryman's daughter, fetched up over ear, 2,000 light years from home, with her tarot pack and her shirt off her back and her one-string fiddle and squeeze box, her shuffles and clicks and her fiddlesticks and her map of the mysteries. And she has been here these 2,000 years on the banks of Thames Isis in Overy, in her ass's milk bath, with her cackling laugh in the clink with her skeleton key. With a widdershins jig, she go rip the rig, the goose is loose in liberty. Thank you. So who would like to share first? Thank you, Peter. Who would like to share first? Who's feeling the urge? Drew, do you want to share? You're poised. Would you like to go later?
I'd rather let someone else go first.
Oh, all right then. Break the ice. Shall I read a goose poem? A little quick goose poem? Let me do that. And then you can prepare yourselves. Actually, this is not a goose poem. I've got two poems, and this is called Give by Simon Armitage. And this is was written for World Homeless Day, which is the 10th of October, which isn't quite yet, but it's called Give. Of all the public places, dear, to make a scene, I've chosen here. Of all the doorways in the world to choose to sleep, I've chosen yours. I'm on the street under the stars. For coppers, I can dance and sing. For silver, swallow swords, eat fire. For gold, escape from locks and chains. It's not as if I'm holding out for frankincense or myrrh, just change. You give me tea, that's big of you. I'm on my knees, I beg of you.
Oh.
Oh. Rod, would you like to?
I can't clap. I can't clap. What's the
Oh,
sound
no.
of one hand clapping?
We could do it together.
Okay.
Yay.
There's so many things I can't do.
It's a learning experience, isn't it?
It's been amazing.
Yeah, what a thing.
Because I the first 2 days I found that if I didn't chain this hand down, it just wanted to support.
Yes.
So
yes.
it would reach out and then it would hurt and then I would be whimpering.
Yes.
So I stick it in a pocket or I put it in the sling to make sure I can't use it.
Yes, because it's such an automatic thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, while I'm bunnying away, shall I be next?
Go on then, Jen.
Okay. I would like to just mention that not only is it 4:30 for Rod in Australia, it is also 4:30 tomorrow.
Oh, yes, it is tomorrow.
It's 4:30 tomorrow for Rod in Australia, so we're already in tomorrow.
Goodness
and it's
me.
also spring equinox for them.
Oh, it is, that's right.
Rod, you are completely back to front.
Completely.
Anyway, I am going to recite a poem because I can't knit, I can't cook, I can't knit, I can't sew, I can't cut out any fabric, I can't do my beading. So I've been a bit cross-eyed with boredom, and I decided what I would do is I would memorize some of my own poems that have just drifted away. So I've learned again a poem that I wrote in my garden at this time of the year. I was lying in my hammock and seeing the multitude of spiders' webs that were in Mother's little corner in the west, ready for the sun to come up. And when the sun did come up, and they all suddenly from nothing burst into light because they all had little tiny raindrops on them. And they were like a leaf mosaic where they were all in different places in the corner so they could all get their own little portion of sunshine. Nobody was behind anybody else. And it kind of blew me away. So anyway, that's where the poem comes from. And I hope I can still remember it because I only just learned it again yesterday. It's called Contemplating Ceridwen. In Mandalay, the sun comes up like thunder, a fanfare as she leaps into the sky. But here in London town, where the straight lines get you down, she creeps over the rooftops, looking shy. The mundane turns to magic as I watch it. The shadows gently fade before her smile. The spider army poses midst the fuchsias and the roses. Their breakfast will arrive in just a while. One busy little spinner weaves a new web. Her spider bottom waggles to and fro. As in midair she dances where the flies must take their chances and the early rising worm gets ate by crow. Enthralled by fuchsia's ballerina dresses, a hoverfly lies tangled in a web. From hoovering up the clover, enticed she hovered over, and lo, her flow turned instantly to ebb. And like the spiders, I am busy watching, as in my hammock contemplating lie. As the spider goddess settles in the middle of her web, I wonder when the time will come when I'm the fly.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
Contemplating Carridwen, was that, Jen?
Contemplating Carridwen, the spider mother.
Yay. Thank you, Jennifer. That was so wonderful.
Thank you, darling.
I
Yeah.
loved it. There certainly is a lot of spidery action going on at the moment.
There's
It's
good reaction,
lovely.
dear. I'm like some kind of lunatic Nazi when I go out, waving my arm up and down like that.
Somebody in the group has been saying that's why witches have wands. It's not to do spells. It's because when they're going out their gardens in the autumn, they can have their wands. That's another reason to have a wand.
Yeah, it's the best weapon you could have.
Because witches are
failing
nothing
a
if
wand.
not practical, are they? That's the
Failing
thing.
a wand, I just wave my arm around.
Arms will do. Yeah. Oh, an arm. Sorry, an arm.
Just the one.
So Drew or
Okay, I'm
Rod,
gonna
who?
mute myself again because otherwise we'll be chatting.
Yeah. Drew or Rod, who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Drew,
Yeah, that's right.
carry on.
I'll go headlong into this and
Headlong.
and then I'll read a little explanation afterwards, but I won't let it go on too long. I won't waffle through all of it. Zea Chloe Zea Chloe Nemetona. It was my gift, the green, among the yards of vines, all through the groves of olives, the wild woodlands, meadows, the hunting grounds. I gave that life to the world of men, and all for my progeny who barely knew that world. It was my gift, the grain, unique rough varietal, splendor of every field, from Eleusis to Elysium, the richest growth. I gave that wheat to the farms of men, and all for my family, who so seldom appreciated the offerings of men. It was my gift, the green of all the orchards, bearing apples and fruits, each one a reflection, an expression of my joy for her. I gave that joy to homes of many men, and all for a daughter claimed by one man, one king beneath. It was my gift, the grain of the finest sheaves, from most sacred fields, ground by my own stones, baked in my own oven. I gave that loaf to Kore, my most dear. For tomorrow she would go beneath, back to him, and for 6 moons I'd be without her. Zea Chloe is a combination of names I came up with myself for the Great Mother, Grain Mother, derived from other epithets for Demeter. Zea means spelt, a unique varietal of wheat, which the ancient Hellenics considered a gift from Demeter. For much of its growth cycle, spelt sheaves in the fields appear green in colour, and it was this, and of course all the other natural green of the trees and hedges from spring through summer, that Demeter was also given a name that meant green, Chloe. In my regular practice in the month of Virgo, I've chanted the name Zea Chloe along with 10 other goddess names, many of them eponyms for Demeter and Ceres, and each I append once with Ceto of the grain and once with Nemetona of the woodland. A practice of meditating on these names is a form of high magic I've derived in my own self-propelled fashion, but it's also a way of accepting that connection with the abundant earth at a time just before the turning of the season. I also did this for 3 sunsets back to back on 3 consecutive days while I was in Sitges, and I did that while I was in the waters at Balmin's Beach there. For of course, it is said from the Eleusinian mysteries that Demeter must let her daughter depart again to the underworld at the coming of very autumn, at the end of the Virgo month. Kore, Proserpina, or usually known as Persephone, departs again to her husband Hades, and so in her despair, Demeter once again calls an end to the vitality in the fields and orchards. From the harvest, their abundance ends and a new cycle begins. Zea Chloe has gifted the mortal humans with spelt and cereals, figs and fruits of such delight, and all so that mortals can live to offer service, succor, and a portion of these foods back to the gods. But the only gift she ever needed was the gracious company and bright smile of her daughter. Kore was taken by but one man, one king of the realm below, but it was the arrogance of the other male gods around the plight of this abduction that angered Demeter so. How dare they ignore how much a child means to her own mother? She would forgive the conspiracy to bring Hades a wife, but she would never forget what it cost her.
Mm.
And I dedicate that poem to all mothers who have lost a daughter or who have been separated from a daughter, be it temporarily or permanently.
Bless you.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall I read my goose poem and then you could go next, Rod? Is that all right? I'll read, it's only very short. It's by Rachel Field, Something Told the Wild Geese. Something told the wild geese it was time to go. Though the fields lay golden, something whispered snow. Leaves were green and stirring, berries lustre glossed, but beneath warm feathers something cautioned frost. All the sagging orchards steamed with amber spice, but each wild breast stiffened at remembered ice. Something told the wild geese it was time to fly. Summer sun was on their wings, winter in their cry. Thank you. Rod.
Unmute. Oh, I'm actually a bit sad. This is, I think it was a song that was meant to be recorded in Zagreb in Croatia. And when I saw the title, I thought, my God, it's titled I Am No Longer Invisible by Nenad Berkar, Zagreb artist. To reassure all those who claim I'm predictable, I've decided to become invisible and went to the night bar. And there behind the microphone, she was standing all alone. My people, that woman cheered joyfully. We've embraced a new century. And it wasn't all about her beautiful physique. Elle est fantastique. And in her singing voice, she promised new and better choice. I closed my eyes and my mind floated through path of crimson dew. And she's attached herself to me and whispered, nothing is forever. Let's dream together. I haven't been predictable since, and I'm not even invisible anymore. For such a thing, I must be strong. For such a thing, I must be bold. I went to Zagreb in September 2018, and Nenad was a street artist, and he recognised a haunted man on a quest, and we got chatting, and he gave me one of his pictures for the quest, and we kept in touch. In the last 12 months, I think it was starting back in October, he would send one line of text in an email, and a picture would be the right thing in the moment. I only found out maybe about 3 weeks ago that he died. And the chain of kindness, I think, so I call it the chain of kindness. I have to do things visual. His last email to me, he sent a picture called Dr. Cat. That started a chain of kindness where the next step was some flowers were sent to a counsellor in Tasmania, intuition, and it's like flowing on and on. And like I find kindness, like Jennifer saying, people cooking the meal and cleaning the house. There's some real bad things happening in the world, but there's some real good things. So I'm very sad for Nenad. I haven't started grieving yet. For me, he's one of God's true miracles, and off the scale intuitive. So I don't know if you ever got my reply email, but there's a couple of thoughts that have come out of it, because all my mates are either dead or dying. There's a saying, death smiles upon all of us, only the bravest smile or wave back. Nenad waved back. He knew he was dying, I think, and he said goodbye to all his friends. And the Grim Reapers turned up in my house. I'm not sure what it all means. I'm not brave enough to smile back, but I'm saying my thank yous and goodbyes, because like for all of us, you just don't know what day it's going to be. So I only got out of hospital 2 weeks ago. It was bloody nightmare. They cut my guts open to take the bowel out with cancer. So I don't know what the story is. But so I've made friends with the Grim Reaper. I give the Grim Reaper cuddles, and the Grim Reaper got so frightened. This in my mind's eye, turns up at my door as I have a big hug, man. You got a shit job. And so in my mind's eye, the Grim Reaper death fell in love with life and is off chasing butterflies. So that's why I've got the butterfly around my neck.
Oh, baby,
I've still got a sense of humour. It's a little bit twisted, but
Rod, bless you.
and like I want to thank people here, and yes, I'm saying my goodbyes because I don't know for any of us, because Crossbones has started a whole chain of kindness that's still spreading, and it's goes on today. And I've talked long enough, so I'm gonna go mute. Oh, and I'm no longer invisible, apparently.
No, you're not.
No, you're
invisible.
not invisible.
You are not invisible. I'm going mute too, love.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rod. And thank you for all of that. What an extraordinary, I just want to say, Rod, what an extraordinary person you are. Like, you seem to have so many connections with people all over the place. It's amazing. And there's such deep connections. It's so beautiful to hear about that, and I'm very sorry to hear about your friend. But I'm sure he did get your email in some way. Yeah, thank you. And I hope you will be well. So so would anyone else like to share?
Can I read a poem that's just come to mind in the last half?
Oh yes, a spontaneous uprising. I like it.
I
Carry on,
haven't written
Peter.
it. It's a Victorian poem, but I'm here because I'm thinking of my friend whose name begins with T, whose life was short and sad, and I worry that she'll be forgotten, but tonight she's not forgotten, and so she's in my mind. And this is a poem by Matthew Arnold about a young girl who died, which is very beautiful in her memory and also reassuring about what death can mean. And this is it. Strew on her roses, roses, and never a spray of you. In quiet she reposes. Ah, would that I did too. Her mirth the world required. She bathed it in smiles of glee, but her heart was tired, tired, and now they've let her be. Her life was turning, turning in mazes of heat and sound, but for peace her soul was yearning, and now peace laps her round. Her cabined ample spirit, it fluttered and failed for breath. Tonight it doth inherit the vasty hall of death.
Gosh, thank you. Beautiful. I've never heard that poem before. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll think of tea. Roses, roses.
Roses, roses.
Roses, roses. Yeah. Would anyone else like to say anything before we? I'll finish with the Southwark Mysteries poem, if that's all right. And then we'll move on to our final offering. So this is I Am the Wind. I am the wind. I rake the wild grasses. I am the reaper, the sower, the seed. I am the day of the bonny lads and lasses. I am the night where the secret paths lead. I am the scents field. I flower in your fingers. I am the musk in the dusk of the day. I am the ghost of the smile that lingers when the face where it flickered has faded away. I am the song of the blackbird in Eden. I am the waft in the butterfly wing. And I am here in the static and stutter, that shutter, how much I can take in. I am the white noise of a nervous system. I am the silence in which it reroutes. I am the gods and the men who resist them, the madness in the eyes of the men in suits. I am George. I must conquer my dragon. I am in Martha. I nurse the red gash. I am Hag Ceridwen with her raw red rag on. I am Kali, razor in the flash and slash. I am the light in the shadow revealing. I am the grace that transfigures the sin. I am the wound that prefigures the healing. I am the light at the traveller's inn. I'll be your icon, your muse, your conceit. I'll be whatever you would have me be. I'll be Mary Magdalene, washing your feet, if it helps you see through what divides you from me. So, thank you, everyone. And we've come to our final ceremony, which is the goose blessing. Would anyone like to say the goose blessing? Drew sometimes says it.
Oh, does he?
He does sometimes. Back in the
That's-
day, I did.
That's, yeah, going quite a way back.
It's all right, Joe. I can do it. Unless you want to do it, Jennifer. Are you happy to?
No, I'm quite happy for you to do it.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying sitting
No,
this
it's nice.
side of
It's
the-
lovely not to have to. Yeah, I normally
receive.
have.
It's gorgeous.
Yes, it's lovely you're here. Normally, I have a tiny bottle of gin, because if we were at the gates, what would happen now is everyone would move towards the gates. So we can imagine we're all moving towards Doug, who is at the gates as we speak. And we'd all be touching the gates. That's right. We're all coming in and we're all looking through the gates at the beautiful Red Cross Mary statue and the beautiful flowers in the garden and touching the gates, and we're saying a blessing. And what happens is that someone, often Gin Jen, who is here now, puts a big circle of gin around everyone.
Got some gin.
Oh, very good. Because I have got a bottle of gin, but I have got 4 naughty cats who come in this house and only one of them lives here. And lots of things disappear and my bottle of gin's gone. I don't know where it is.
My gin is on the altar. Give me 1 second.
Excellent. Gin Jen is come up trumps again.
I have a glass of pineapple juice, so I might put a little
Oh, well,
gin in.
that's very good. I'm sure I have got a bottle of gin here somewhere, but a naughty cat has done something with it. So Gin Jen's going to do that. And then when we do this blessing, it's
Gin.
Gin Jen. Oh, look. That is an excellent bottle of gin.
I'm going to waft it around. I'm not going to pour it all over the floor.
No, just waft it.
I'll take some into the garden. I can't hold the phone and do things as well.
No, it's all right. It's symbolic.
So, it's symbolical. I'm going to try and
Symbolical.
stand the phone up so you can. I'm wafting the gin towards you.
Thank you.
And we're sealed in with the gin. The gin is in
Yay.
the
Hooray.
outside of us.
That's lovely. Very good. Thank you. Now we're all in the beautiful circle. Vivian has just joined us. Hello, Vivian. We're just going to do the final blessing. So if you want to unmute yourself, then feel free. And this is a repeated blessing. So I'll say it and then you can repeat it after me, if that's all right. So imagine that we're at the gates looking into the graveyard and we're giving this blessing. Life,
Life,
health,
Health,
happiness,
happiness,
open pathways,
open pathways,
health in the body,
health in the body,
peace in the spirit,
peace in the spirit,
love in the heart,
love in
love
the
in the
heart,
heart,
life,
life,
happiness,
happiness, bring it, happiness,
open
open
pathways,
pathways, health in the
Health
body,
in
health in the body,
peace in the spirit,
peace
in
in
the
the spirit,
love in the heart.
love
in
the
the
heart.
heart.
It is this that we wish
It
It
is
is this that we wish
for ourselves,
for
ourselves,
for our friends and family,
for our friends and family,
for all our siblings,
for all
our siblings,
for the goose and the crow,
for the goose and the crow,
and for all humanity.
and for all humanity.
It is this that we wish
It is this that we wish
for ourselves,
for ourselves,
for our friends and family,
for our friends and family,
for all our siblings,
for
for all our siblings,
for the goose and the crow,
for the goose and the crow,
and for all humanity.
and for all humanity.
May it be so.
May it be so.
Goose, may you never be hungry.
Goose, may you never be hungry.
Goose, may you never be thirsty.
Goose, may you never be thirsty.
Goose, may your spirit fly free.
Goose, may your spirit fly free.
And so she does.
And so she does.
Everybody.
Sorry, I think I had a bit of lag there.
Oh, it's a Zoom thing.
Well done. That was so gorgeous. Thank you. Oh,
Isn't that
lovely
lovely?
to see you, Rod. I will write to you very, very quickly. You don't have to write back. You can write one word. Alive.
Yeah.
alive, 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 alive. Oh, we should have sung that.
Except you haven't got Rod's new email.
Ah, but I have, because
Oh.
Rod has had does now to write it to me on here. What I've got to do before
Oh,
we
good.
disappear, I've got to write it down so I don't forget it.
I'm going to stop
Oh,
streaming
it's
to
the
bye-bye
same as before.
Facebook.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'm just stopping Facebook and then I'll stop the recording. You can do your admin. Admin time. It's admin
Admin.
time.
Gmail.